Our video editors rely on high-speed access to dependable storage to do their work. That's why we have fiber optic networking and a whole room full of wicked fast servers. But that's all here, and CES in Las Vegas is in, well, Las Vegas. Now, the obvious solution would be to just send our shooters. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
They could point the camera at the thing, stick the SD card in the other thing, and then just transfer the footage back to HQ for editing. But, I mean, come on hotel internet, please. So we have no choice but to also send the editors. And since nobody wants a downgraded setup to do their work in a fast-paced, stressful situation like CES, we are gonna be bringing our editing setup on the road with us. Actually, bringing it on the plane with us, LTT style. The solution for the workstations is simple. Laptops have gotten so powerful these days. It's the server that's gonna be more complicated. How do we take that and put it into this? And how do we take this segue and use it to tell you about our sponsor? War Thunder. War Thunder is an immersive and detail-focused online vehicle combat game that lets you choose from over 2,000 different machines you can pilot. Click the link below to snag some bonus items today. Let's start with the size, since that's the most challenging component of this build. In a perfect world, the system would be small enough to be thrown into a backpack, lttstore.com. But to make things a little bit easier, we set our target as fitting within a carry-on. Specifically, this old Pelican 1510. That pretty much ruled out full-sized ATX motherboards and cases, limiting us to ITX or MATX. The former meant we probably wouldn't be able to achieve some of the nice-to-haves, like redundant boot drives, so we settled on an MATX motherboard. Specifically, this. The ASRock Rack X570 D4U2L2T might not have the sexiest name, but it meets all of our criteria. It's micro ATX, has dual onboard 10 gigabit network ports, 2 M.2 slots for redundant boot drives, support for up to a 16-core Ryzen 5000 series CPU, and it has IPMI, which means that we don't even need to have a monitor attached to it to see the output of the system. We can just remote into it over the network and control it from there. Even rebooting the system, flashing the BIOS, we can do anything we need to do remotely over the network. So this is great. But as you can see, the 19.8 by 11 inch dimensions of our Pelican case don't leave a lot of room around the motherboard for a case. And finding one that would fit an MATX motherboard, but also fit inside our Pelican was, well, let's just say this wasn't our first choice. Meet the Inwin CJ712. Its main selling point is that it fits. Oh, wow, just barely. Like, I kid you not, it is 1/10 of an inch smaller than the Pelican case. Is this even gonna fit? Jake validated this, so I wouldn't put it past him to troll me. There's definitely some things about this build that are making me uncomfortable already. So if that was Jake's intention, then mission accomplished, I suppose. Side panel comes off with something like that. Can you believe Jake would have rather been on vacation today than built this computer with me? I can imagine him watching this video, enjoying my struggle as I try and figure out what the crap he intended me to do with this. Here's something Jake left instructions about. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Given its intended use as a case for a low-powered business machine, the included power supply makes a lot of sense, 265 watts. But for what we're doing, that ain't gonna cut it, especially from Powerman, whatever the devil brand that is. So we got our hands on the best Flex ATX power supply that we have in our studio. It's not a lot more, it's only 350 watts, but it's at least from a reliable brand, Silverstone, and is 80 plus gold efficient, so hopefully it won't need much cooling, which is good because this case does not have it. We can do something about the cooling challenges. For starters, we can replace the slim 80mm fan with at least a full width 80mm fan. All that requires is a little bit of creative modification. We're supposed to use this fan as an exhaust rather than an intake, so these little bits here are dremelled out to make room for the motherboard. Well, it would have been pretty cool to put a 16-core CPU in here. Unfortunately, with the drive tray installed, which, well, it's a server, so we're gonna need, there's only 45 millimeters of room to work with above the CPU. The kinds of coolers that will fit in that space, like Noctua's L9A, wouldn't even be able to handle one of those 16-core CPUs at its base clock speed, let alone when turboing. Our next best option then is an 8-core Ryzen 5700X with a much lower 65-watt TDP. It's not as cool as stuffing a 16-core CPU in a box like this, but it should be plenty for our intended use case. If we needed our CPU to perform parity calculations for software RAID, a CPU like this could be a performance concern, but given that we're running a simple RAID 1, or mirror, which is just the same bits of data being written to and read from both drives, we're not expecting that to be a problem. Oh boy. That was fine, what I did. Don't do it. Boy, is this ever a skinny computer, hey? Are you liking how skinny it is, Brandon? Whew, it's like a little slice of computer. Yeah. By the way, it's not really part of the video because Jake already removed it, but ASRock, in their infinite wisdom, decided to glue the stock backplate onto this board. So if for whatever reason you want to install a cooler that doesn't use the stock backplate, you have to do some careful prying work in order to get it off. Very annoying. See, it's strong glue. A big reason that we went Ryzen over an Intel-based platform is that AMD almost across the board offers at least unofficial support for unbuffered ECC memory. Error checking and correcting memory is considered safer for use with the ZFS file system, which makes heavy use of RAM for caching data. And we have a bunch of these 32 gigabyte NVMe-based 3200 megatransfer per second sticks kicking around from a previous project. So even though the performance of them not great, we figured, what the hey, let's go quantity over quality and throw 128 gigs of RAM in this thing. This is the part where things get very interesting. How on earth am I supposed to fit this whole thing in here? Wait, what? Okay, that is an extremely tight fit. Oh my God, look at the quality of this case. Even though it's so small, can you see how much it's flexing? The motherboard is what actually stiffens the case enough that you can pick it up without it just torquing around like that. There it is. And see, like I said, it's far less twisty with the motherboard screwed into it. All I've got to do now is plug in all our power cables and, oh, that reminds me. I never talked to you about our boot drives. This is super cool. These are discontinued now, but these low-capacity Intel Optane M.2 drives, they were intended as caching drives for hard drives in low-end systems, but for us, they are the perfect boot drive. They're only 64 gigs each, but they are super high endurance and with crazy low prices on the used market, because who would want a 64 gig drive? Well, we do. In fact, we want 2 of them, so that if one of them were to die on the go, our system can continue to function without missing a beat. And ooh, that 24 pin does not have a lot of slack on it. That's not bad, right? Yeah, it's a nice, tidy little server. Of course, it doesn't really have any bulk storage yet. Ah, that's where this comes in. This tiny package, this CM6 Enterprise NVMe drive from Kioxia, holds a whopping 30 terabytes of storage. I mean, it's not like we've never seen density like this before. Nimbus Data sent us a 3.5-inch drive that could hold 100 terabytes. But that used a SATA interface, limiting the drive to about 500 megabytes a second. The CM6, on the other hand, can do 7 gigabytes per second in sequential read speeds. That means that we would need dual 25 gig network connections to get anywhere near the speed of just one of these drives. And just one of these drives could easily handle multiple video editors working off of it at the same time, which is perfect for our application. Now, it does occur to me that with a street price of around $10,000 each, carrying 4 of these across the border, while perfectly legal, is a bit unnerving. But that's fine, because A, this case only seems to support 2 drives by default, and B, 30 terabytes of usable storage after mirroring, is actually excessive for what will be about a week's worth of remote work. For reference, that 30 terabytes is more capacity than our previous main video editing server had until we upgraded it just 2 years ago. Actually, before we put this in, you probably noticed that these drives use the U.2 interface and our motherboard doesn't have any U.2 ports. Well, we had a plan for this. We tried this Max Cloud On 4-port bifurcation card. Unfortunately, it's a little taller than I'm comfortable with in this case, and it's designed around PCIe Gen 3, so we'd actually be giving up some of our comically high performance. So instead, I have these. 2 of these. These are PCIe by 4 to Mini SAS HD or U.2 cards. And all these do, these are just dumb cards. They just take a PCIe Gen 4 interface and link all the lanes to these pins, and they connect via PCIe Gen 4 to the back of your drive. Sick, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and plug these guys in here. Boop. Then this guy goes into the back of the drive, but it needs power to come from somewhere. So you just inject SATA power into it, a little something like this. Uh-oh. This is a very tight fit. All these cables then just get mashimulated down there. Yeah, we got this. This is the way. This is not the least janky thing I've ever done. Hey, be nice.
What? No, you're doing janky.
I know, but be nice.
What's not nice about the truth?
Truth's not setting me free right now, Brandon. I'm pretty sure everything is connected now. It's fine. Let's power it up and make sure it works. I have concerns about thermals in this thing, even with the better fan. That is a very restrictive front panel. Right out of the gate, there are a couple of things we want to adjust. We're going to set our memory to 3200. And this is interesting. I went into our NVMe configuration and I see our 2 Optane drives, so that's for our boot. And then, what's this? Only one of our 30 terabyte Kioxias. That's for a good reason. If we look closely at our cards, only one of them has an indicator LED on it. And that is because the second one is installed in a PCIe by 16 slot. Now, under normal circumstances, there's no problem putting a PCIe by 4 card in a by 16 slot. But in this case, because it's not really a card, right? It's just a pass-through, we might have to set that slot to be bifurcated, so to operate in a different mode. So what we do is we go into PBS, I think it is. Yes, PCIe 16 link width, and we go by 4. Theoretically, we can save this, fire it back up, and it should be detected. If not, I'm gonna leave it for Jake to figure out after the weekend because I gotta go do WAN show. I don't think that was actually the problem. This one came unplugged. That's a more likely explanation. Let's try that. Boop. Hey, both the lights are on now. Okay, well, we found the problem. Hey, there we go. All drives detected. Now the last thing we need to do is go ahead and set all of our fans to 100%. Because we're gonna need all the cooling we can get. Now we get into the really good stuff. Let's talk about software. We installed TrueNAS Scale, which is the Linux version of TrueNAS already on the boot drives. Our pool is already set up as a mirror, and we've already got a network share set up. We might need to change the password in order to do our demo here, but we'll see what's going on. As for other settings that we needed to change, we enabled auto trim because SSDs. Trim is a really important feature to increase both the performance and longevity of your SSDs. No. I understand for security, we want to have it set to something good when we're actually but you gotta, for a video, you gotta set it to something that All right, I hacked the mainframe and we're in. 128 gigs of RAM, 8 cores, 16 threads. Hottest core, 47 degrees while we're not even doing anything. How do I get to this thing? No, do not cut. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Cool, well, anyway, we tested it before so you guys can see the screen cap of this and wow, it's really fast. But the SSD temperatures are a little hotter than I'd like to see. We got in touch with Kioxia and they said they actually rate these drives at a maximum operating temperature of 70 degrees. So 62 is actually fine, but we might end up modifying the bracket that they sit on for a bit better airflow. For now though, apparently it's fine, but I gotta say this fan at the front kicks out a lot of heat. Now, for everything you saw in the screen capture just now, we're just connected to our office's 10 gig infrastructure. But we're not gonna have that with us on the go, and our hotel internet might not even be suitable for 4 editors to edit at the same time, even if they're just pulling down like, stock photos and other assets. Thankfully, we have a solution to both of those problems. First of all, we're actually gonna be using a cellular puck, which we have done in the past and works shockingly well. This will make sure that we have internet access. As for networking all the machines together and to our NAS, we're gonna have a total of 4 editors down there. We wanted a 10 gig switch that was portable. And it turns out Ubiquiti has just the solution. Meet the Flex XG. It's a 4-port 10 gig switch that is shockingly heavy, but also extremely compact and can actually be powered with USB-C. Then, because obviously Apple doesn't actually have 10 gig networking on their MacBooks, almost nobody puts 10 gig networking on a laptop, we'll be using 4 of these CalDigit Thunderbolt to 10 gig networking dongles to get everybody up to full speed. Now, you're probably wondering, why MacBooks? We are otherwise a completely Windows house when it comes to video editing. It's because for the Adobe suite, while Apple's M2 Silicon might be slower than the top dog Intel laptops for rendering and timeline performance, we've actually found them to be a lot more stable, which ends up saving us more time than the extra performance would when we're on the go. They also have great color accurate screens, great battery life, they charge quickly, and ingesting footage seems to work a lot better for some reason as well. We may also bring a top dog Windows laptop just for rendering out projects. I mean, with everything on network storage, it's super easy to move projects between systems, but that remains to be seen. Just like it remains to be seen who is our sponsor for this video. War Thunder. Comprehensive vehicle combat? Yes. Free to play on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X with crossplay? Absolutely. A selection of over 2,000 vehicles, including tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships? You bet. With over 100 years of historically accurate and very detailed war vehicles available to choose from, there is something for every taste in War Thunder. Whether you want to enjoy some tactical and realistic PvP, or you're more of a fast-paced and action-oriented combat person, War Thunder has got you covered. War Thunder takes attention to realism to another level by using a damage X-ray system showing the actual damage done to vehicles during combat instead of a traditional hit point system. The best part of all, there's no need for any additional external components, and you can hop right into the action with just a keyboard and a mouse. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and start playing War Thunder for free with some premium vehicles and boosts today. If you enjoyed this video, you know what? Oh, let's go full blast from the past. Why don't you check out the one where I built a duffel bag carryable editing rig for our very first CES.